Hey guys, Szechuan Gaming here. Welcome to another episode of Pokemon Duel. Obviously, this week we've had the Fire Gym Cup start, so I thought I would make a video with my thoughts on that and showing what decks I've been using and stuff like that. So, as you can see here at the moment, I'm lucky enough to have double moltres. I've seen quite a lot of questions online. What on earth are you supposed to do about moltres in this gym? And honestly, the answer is moltres is OP in this gym. Like really OP. I mean, as a moltres user, I'll tell you guys what I find particularly frustrating with it. I'm also lucky enough to have one of mine C-leveled, so that helps me against opponents' moltreses. This deck isn't constant. I mean, it's changing all the time. If I go to my figures and show you, and I'll stick a fire filter on, I'm absolutely spoilt for choice for this gym. And I know I was gonna be. So, yeah, at one point I was trying double Charizard. Resh has only just made it back in there. Heatran's been demoted just because I wasn't getting enough use out of him in the way I was playing. I've gone with no Ho-Oh, I've gone with two, I've gone with one. Just trying loads of different things. I mean, I've managed to get that trophy for getting 11 wins in a row, which I did pretty quick. But I mean, it's not hard with two moltres. I did have to beat the odd Deoxys deck to do it. One of which was an extremely lucky win for me, and the other one, I guess I just don't think they played optimally. But yeah, I mean, there's still, the two decks we all hate that are going to be good in this. And they're going to be good in everything. There's not going to be a gym where all of a sudden the buffs make it so that the other stuff's better than them. Although what I would say is that Moltres, is incredible. I mean, I've played people using three Moltres as well, and at first I was like, oh god, this is going to be a nightmare, and it was not easy. But I feel if I had another Moltres in my team, it would start to become a hindrance, because originally I had a Zapdos along with these two Moltres in here, and you just can't get any surrounds because you're constantly blocking your own, the soar ability of your own Moltres or the legendary bird just blocks you constantly. So I feel two is like the optimal amount to have. Some people may disagree with that. Anyway, I'll jump into a game with this deck. I think, to be honest, I've only had like a couple of games with this exact deck. I've tried out not just fire stuff as well. I've had some decks with Vibrava in and Shuppet as well, and I've got some pretty good ground types that people seem to be having a lot of success with. I've not really explored the ground types enough yet. I've only used one or two in the decks, just because fire stuff for me is working so far. Probably once I've got more of the rewards, I will start switching it up. But for me, oh, look at that. How fun is that? Well, we'll see what we can do, but I think we'll probably lose this. Damn. I completely forgot about Speed Deoxys. Not off to a good start. Well, I don't know why he did that. I'm going to attack it because it's just going to be harder to deal with later. That's the other thing in gym games. I play really, really risky. Until I'm on a huge win streak, I play really risky because there's no real disadvantage to losing. Because I usually do the thing, well, other than big win streaks, I usually just claim my rewards after 2 wins. I have no idea why this person has done this. What plates are they running? Are they running long throw or something? This is bizarre. Come on, please don't roll the 120. Huh? No way. I don't guys, I don't know what this person's doing. Seriously. What on earth? I must have been distracted or something. Well, that was an easy win. And probably there wasn't a lot of useful stuff in there for you. So anyway, defending against moltres. The best thing you can do is have legendary birds of your own, ideally moltres. If you don't, I would use Zapdos as the next best, because there's not a lot of good fire Pokemon here. Like you can see in this entire squad, I don't have a gold attacker. So it's good to have a gold attacker in Zapdos, but also his Soar ability blocks their Moltres, so as soon as they bring a Moltres out, you block it with a Zapdos if you've got that. You could do the same with Articuno. I don't know how good Articuno would be in the gym in general, just because he's got lower attack that isn't getting buffed, so ground Pokemon will probably now beat him anyway. And obviously, it's not going to win any matchups against Moltres, really. It could be handy though if you roll the ice move and get stuff frozen and things. It could be if you don't have any better options. The other thing you could try is Vibrava. It's got really strong attacks because of the ground buff, and it's often rolling purple anyway, and it slows Moltres down for 1 turn, but you have to factor it in terms of protecting your goal. If they bring a Moltres out turn 1, I mean, things are going to be rough. You just have to accept that, and you need to just try and get as much stuff out and to your goal as quick as possible. Some people are sort of saying, oh, I'll use a long throw plate. I don't really see how a long throw plate helps at all, other than to maybe get us around. I mean, I use long throw in League, and I just don't think that's the answer to this problem, because they're still going to be able to soar past most stuff that you actually throw out, unless you're throwing out a legendary bird. And if you were throwing that out, you could have just moved it out anyway to block the soar. So when they go second, it's important to set up a position where you're going to be able to defend or block the soar. The other approach you could take is if you've got a powerful figure like DOA, or I don't know, something that could beat a Moltres, maybe a Charizard, I don't know, something with high attack, or a high attack and a little bit of gold. You could just double chance and throw it straight into an attack if they've moved. Well, more likely if they've gone second. Basically, if they bring a Moltres out and you can get to it with an attacker that has more than half, well, maybe not more than half, but a good chance of beating it, and you double chance. If you lose, you've lost. Fair enough. You're probably going to lose anyway, but at least you've lost quickly, and it helps you grind through games. I mean, I've not really had a lot of chance to play this, to be honest. I'm only sitting on 25 wins, and one of them was an 11 in a row. So, I've not done a great deal. I need to try out all the ground stuff still. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, Ho-Oh is a weird one. 3MP is really good, and it keeps your PC empty. But it doesn't feel like the flyover thing's working as much in this gym as it did in the Dragon gym, with like Salamence double chancing and hitting the flyover, taking the entry point. It doesn't really seem to be a strategy in this, because everyone's just opting for the soar thing, which honestly is, makes sense because it's so good. Now, if I scroll down to other notable things, I mean, Heatran is good. Heatran's good. I used it for a bit. It's just I always seem to hit miss segments. And I use Heatran in League, and what I like him for is to do like an early trap with his ability, or save yourself late on with his ability. But I like in League to go through and steamroll with the purple move and just push everything where I want it, especially up one side, and then push them into the middle to get us around. That's nice. I might make a video on that. I think Zapdos could be used in this gym. Mew could definitely be used in this gym. Although it's not good for stalling the Moltres because of Soar. This is the only Deoxys I have. I mean, I don't know how good these things are at like defending against Moltres. I've got this dude, which is an absolute beast. That blue move is insane. I just think he's a bit slow for this gym. You can't really afford to be playing 1 MP figures that much in this gym, with the exception being, I think it's Torterra, the one that you stick on the entry point, and then you can still bring things out around it, but they can't capture that point, which is really helpful for making it hard for your opponent to get surrounds. That's quite a good thing to defend against Moltres, and one of its attacks does go up to 140, and it has a really big blue section, so that would be if you had that would be a great counter to Moltres. The other thing, oh god, I was thinking of someone then, and I've forgotten who it was. Oh yeah, I guess if you can get your Vibrava to evolve into Flygon's ability stops Soar effects working. This is even better if you don't have a Moltres yourself, but even if you have one and they have 3, it would be good, or 2. But again, pretty tough to get the evolution. Gabite's alright, I mean, 60 and 90 isn't bad. And if you get the evolution, whatever his name is, becomes OP. Garchomp, well, it doesn't become OP, but I mean, so this would be on 110 and 80 just for the gym buff. I mean, that's good, especially if you have a C-leveled one, because, you can take out Moltres with that. Maybe this is the type of figure to double chance and throw out and try and knock out a Moltres with early. That's probably what I'd do if I didn't have the Moltreses. If you want to play slightly more for the long game, you could try it with the Gabite evolution, because that would give it a 120 move, which is pretty solid. Let me put the ground filter on and just see if there's anything I've missed before I end the vid. Yeah, I've seen people using this. Puppetar. I've been calling that Pulpitar for the whole game. Puppetar, right? Yeah, because that gets a big 70. Not too hard to evolve, especially with an X attack. And getting the 2 MP on... I can't remember what he's called. The guy who it evolves into isn't too bad. But the person it evolves into... the Pokemon it evolves into isn't ground, so kind of have to factor that in. If you're like a budget player, or you've not really got good squads and stuff yet, Onyx is a great Pokemon to use. It's just slow. That's the drawback. Yeah, I think I pretty much covered all of those. So, and for anyone wondering what I used to get the 11 wins, I used a couple of decks throughout it. I changed. But it was always double Moltres. There was a Mew. There was a Mew in there. I had Charizard in for a bit. I didn't use Resh at all, to be honest. I had some Ho-Ohs for a bit. For the for the final win, admittedly, I used the triple Reuniclus, double moltres, and I guess it was Mew for the other one, or it would have been something with 3 MP, to make sure I got it. And honestly, I know people are saying that's ridiculous, that deck, and it is, obviously, for the usual reasons. I don't feel like now, though, I don't feel like I'd like to use that to grind out my wins. For one, because it's really boring to play, but two, I mean, it was Moltres still getting the wins. Moltres is the key in this gym. I guess people using, like, I would say the deck I would not like to play the most is something like double Moltres, DOA, DOS, Cosmo, and I guess another A, and maybe a D or another S or something like that, or in fact a Ho-Oh, so they can get, regeneration. That I would not like to play against something like that. I've faced a few triple Reunicluses myself. I've managed to get around it, but I don't know, it could just be people not playing Optimum. I'm not at the highest rank here. I'm still 954, because I've not played much. I'm sure once I get above 2000 and every deck is just a nightmare to play against, I'll start getting as annoyed as everyone else does. But I'm sure there'll be a lot of people annoyed with the decks I'm using, but I'm blessed with good fire figures. What can I say? I was blessed with good flying figures as well. The two gyms in the middle, not so much. I struggled. I didn't get the 11 wins in a row. I mean, I did okay, but I had to put a lot more effort in to win. And actually now, between gyms, I really hoard Pokemon to, if they're going to be useful. I mean, you can see it from, I know some people have like a policy over, I keep this many of each EXs and all that. I mean, I don't really. I base it on gyms. Like, I'm holding these Venusaurs back for a grass gym, because if that ever gets 2 MP, I think it'll be good. I don't know how good. Probably it still won't be as good as using Deoxys. I'm not sure anything ever will. I mean, they've made some good steps to making things a little bit more bearable. I mean, Dark Energy is great. I've tried to use it myself, but because I don't have Yveltal, I don't really feel like I've got a deck that I'm happy to use. I've got Umbreon and what's it called, Greninja, but I prefer to use Mew, and I don't want to run a Mew as well because I need to run a Shuppet, and it starts to become too weak, the deck in total. I would rather have a Yveltal in there instead of the Umbreon. Or maybe the Greninja. I've not really thought about that enough. But I know it's working for other people. And the other problem is, whenever I use a Dark Energy deck to try and get good at playing it, I don't face Deoxys decks, and I find it difficult to beat like normal, just 6 EX good decks without my usual sort of Shuppet EX deck. I guess the last thing I'll cover quickly before I end it is this dude, Groudon. Looks like he's got a decent wheel. I've seen a lot of things saying, is he worth using? Personally, on League, I don't know. In the gym, I would say yes. However, for me to use him, I would like to have both of them, and I would see. I mean, some people will say they're not going to sea level him because it's an event, blah blah blah. But I would sea level it and get it to 111, so that when it gets the buff, it's on 131, which beats DOA. I'd also level it so that mist section disappears, so you've got a decent chance of hitting your break energy against a DO deck, and you've got a 130 attacker. I mean, you've got to factor in the 1 MP. If you've got nothing better to use, then it's definitely worth including in the deck. But yeah, I think the next stage for this game to improve is to bring out some better 3 MP figures. they just keep bringing really, really powerful 1MP figures out, and everyone knows you just can barely run 2 in a deck. I mean, it's insane, and there's drawbacks to running one of them. You have to really get something good out of it, like Metagross, for example, which I think is a totally acceptable 1MP figure to run. It's worth the sacrifice. Anyway, guys, I will leave it there. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up, but leave me some comments. About what decks you've been using, what's driving you mad, all that stuff, and I'll see if I can answer any specific questions that will maybe help. And yeah, let me know what's working for you, especially if you're having a lot of luck with the ground types. Let me know, because that's something I'm going to be trying out myself, and I'll try and do another video before the gym event ends. Maybe if I get on a big streak, I'll throw up one of the later matches on, or if I stumble across a cool deck that I've made, I will show you some gameplay with that, because this one was a bit of a flop. Alright, thanks guys, see you in the next episode.